Yeah, the Wednesday edition of Mr. Irrelevant, presented by Door County Distillery. I'm Alex Strouf with you from the Gruber Law Offices, One Call That's All Studios at the Avenue in downtown Milwaukee. Producer Tiny Hands, Hunter Vaughn, is, of course, back at the Everlight Solar Studio in beautiful downtown Madison on this beautiful Wednesday. Great weather across the state. The rain's held off for a few days. I love Wisconsin, man. This is the summer we've needed all summer. But shout out to the farmers. I think they like the rain we've been getting. I'm not a farmer, though. I don't know the answer to that. Lots to get into today, man. This Jordan Love stuff is getting out of hand. People are saying there's anger. People are saying this deal's never going to get done. People are saying Jordan Love's going to play at training camp without a deal done. I still don't feel that way, but Adam Schefter does. Brian Bulaga does. And the person we'll get to in just a minute, Joshy DiMaggio, has always felt this way. We got a text message from Joshy about 8 o'clock this morning. Just said, hashtag Joshy was right. So I'm going to give him the floor here in a minute. But first, I want to talk Jordan Love and play you the clip that's been circulating the internet a little bit less than the last 24 hours. So I've talked about it quite a bit the last couple of weeks. Jordan Love had a football camp yesterday in the Milwaukee area. The media contingency that did show up to Milwaukee to cover this football camp was told, don't ask questions about his contract, but got to give credit. Stephanie Sutton, who is a sports reporter for Channel 12, WISN here in Milwaukee, ended his media availability by asking him this question, and it got shut down. But there's a moment in this clip that makes me think we're closer than everybody else thinks. So let's just play the whole interaction between Stephanie Sutton and the Packers quarterback yesterday at his first football camp in the state of Wisconsin here in the Milwaukee area.
Brian Gutekunst says he hopes to have a contract extension done with you before the start of camp. Do you wish the same?
Sorry, nope.
All right.
News,
nope.
He just goes, all right. Everybody says, nope. And that was the end of his media availability. You can hear Stephanie Sutton kind of laughing, knowing that she's probably not going to get the answer she was looking for. Let's bring in Josh DiMaggio, because he is the producer of Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, weekdays from 7 to 9 on 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee. They have Adam Schefter on every Wednesday. This morning, Schefty essentially said, hey, I don't think it's going to be done before camp, which starts on Monday. Furthering kind of the narrative around this question that was asked, the uncertainty, the fact we haven't really heard any reports from his representation or the Packers in regards to an extension. Joshy, weeks ago, said, I don't think it's as easy as we're making it. I think there's more to this. I think his vagueness actually means he's angry. Josh, are you taking a victory lap right now?
Not fully. They still got time. But what I want to point out is how much of a done deal and an afterthought almost everyone, to a person, thought the Jordan Love extension was, that it was just going to happen. It's going to be done well before camp. It's going to be easy peasy. They got to pay him how much. And we're going to move on, and Jordan Love is going to be the quarterback. Well, I don't think the Packers are planning to move on for Jordan Love.
Right.
I do think the circumstances of how much Jordan Love rightfully believes he deserves to be paid and how uncomfortable the Packers are with the body of work of Jordan Love. So you on one side, you got a guy looking and saying, I deserve to be 55, 56, 50, whatever the number is. We obviously have no idea. And the Packers are saying, yeah, but that's a big investment for 10 good games. We like your personality. We like the way you go about things. We like really how you played at the end of the season. But I think, knowing the Packers, Davante Adams is in the news for really not getting offered money. The Packers aren't really doling out money to anything but sure things. And the money, when it got to this big, this amount, to me, it was always going to be an issue. Is Jordan Love going to be able to get enough money to sign a contract and be ready to go? I think what we saw yesterday with the Stephanie Sutton question, that's just bad PR. He's got people around him giving him bad advice. You could just answer that question with, we're not going to talk about that. I'll be reporting to camp tomorrow. He would have said that.
Yep.
And we can handle that with our next media availability coming up soon. I think that plays a part into this isn't close at all, and we've got two sides that are have very, very big differences in how much they think they deserve to be paid.
Okay, so a lot there. I would understand the point of the Packers aren't, you use the term doling out cash, unless it's a sure thing. You have a ton of recent examples where that's the case, right? Aaron Jones this offseason is now a Minnesota Viking because that was the case. Devontae Adams is on this media tour because of the Netflix show Receiver, talking about the fact that he was lowballed. However, I think this position is a lot different than those examples. Now, would I be shocked if we hear a report at some point in the next week, let's say, that the Packers are only offering Jordan Love $45 million a year? Would I be shocked? I don't think I'd be shocked. But I think they're closer than that. Because I imagine Jordan Love is closer to 55, let's just say, per year, because that's currently the highest average annual value for a quarterback. Both Joe Burrow and Trevor Lawrence now making that. Jordan Love obviously wants to be paid like the best quarterback in football, $55 million a year, let's say. Jordan Love had a really good half season. So are the Packers ready to give him the largest quarterback contract in the league? I don't know. So your point on that is right, where I will give you a hashtag Joshy was right on that. That the money might be further apart than we think. But I also, and I don't know that a lot of people caught this, so I'm going to have Hunter play it 3 times over because it's so fast. Of what Jordan Love said at the very end of that clip we just played.
Isa Bruder filmed this morning at like 5 o'clock in the morning.
You what?
Oh, boy.
Say that again?
Hunter, do you want to help him?
Josh, you know he's not going to know that reference.
What?
Like,
It's the most
you know
famous
better.
video clip in the history of the
You
world.
know better. That's
I
on
did not
you.
know that.
That's like
Zapruder.
That's like you saying that to Ben
Abraham
Prost. He's not
Zapruder?
going to
Is that who
know.
we're referring to? He was a Ukrainian-born American clothing manufacturer who witnessed the assassination of the United States President John F. Kennedy in Dallas, Texas, on November 22nd, 1963. Is he the one who captured the video?
Yes, the Zapruder film is the film you've seen hundreds of times.
Yes, probably.
Of JFK getting assassinated.
Okay, so how many times have you watched the Stephanie Sutton video then?
I watched it this morning 10, 15 times because I saw somebody, what you are going to play here, I imagine, is at the very end of the clip. Yes. So let's play it, Hunter, 3 times over, just because it's so quick, and I want everybody to clearly decipher what Jordan Love sneaks in there. Nobody that was there yesterday caught this until way after the fact. Here's what Jordan Love said at the very end of the clip we just played you.
News go. News go. News go.
News to come.
Yeah.
Doesn't that make you feel better about where things are at?
You guys did a little interesting clip there because what happens first is somebody says, not Jordan Love, news to come, and Jordan Love repeats the phrase back to him. Now, is he saying that because he feels awkward between what just happened? This guy going, no, this is over. Because if you watch the video back, the first person to say news to come isn't Jordan Love.
Okay, I didn't catch that.
I did.
Zapruder filmed that.
Because that's why I described it. Because I watched it and I heard that when I was looking at the clip, and I was like, wait.
But what I just played is Jordan Love saying.
Yes, he said he follows up with after someone who, not to me, isn't, because it's not even the guy who cut the interview off. The guy in the goofy looking
We're going to get
sunglasses.
to that in a second.
Yeah. He does say it, but he says it sort of just like staring off into the distance. It wasn't, because if that question had been asked, he could have just responded, news to come right away. It was when it had all ended and he was like about to walk away that he repeated news to come.
Interesting. But there is news to come. We can all agree on that?
Well, yeah, because if he's in camp on Monday without a deal, guess what questions Jordan Love's going to be asked about? He's going to have to answer.
Yeah, he can only sidestep these for so long, I think. And he has done I'll give him credit. He's done a really good job of sidestepping every question about the contract negotiations all offseason long. Now, let's go back to would you say the guy in the goofy sunglasses?
Yes. Yeah.
So that I have reached out and gotten the answer that, A, this is not a member of Athletes First, which is his agent and representation. He is not a member of Athletes First. He is not a member of the Green Bay Packers PR staff. He is involved strictly with the football camps that are being put on. So he doesn't really have a tie to Jordan Love outside of him helping put on the football camp. But for some reason, he was the guy that was monitoring the questions being asked by the media.
I feel like we need a 30 for 30 on that guy. Why is he involved in what is going to be one of the richest quarterback contracts ever?
So my understanding is I believe there was no formal invitation to the media to show up to this. I think Milwaukee media, rightfully so, saw Jordan Love was putting on a football camp in their city and showed up.
That's interesting because now to give a little behind the scenes here, these things are kind of a quid pro quo.
Here we go.
You scratch my back, I scratch yours.
Yep.
I come to your camp and give you the good publicity and the promotion of it, and then we do an interview.
Yep.
Now, it's certainly possible these people and their camera crews all showed up randomly, but I would gather there was some sort of email or communication sent out by either the camp or Jordan Love's camp saying, we would like to attend this, take some video, and be a part of the first annual Jordan Love, whatever it's called. I don't think this is just kind of like old school looking over the fences, filming it. They were there. They were invited.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. My understanding is I don't think there was a formal invitation.
It's a clever way of what makes a formal invitation versus a maybe you should show up here because it would be great promotion.
I would have liked to receive an email. Maybe I'm just feeling left out.
Yeah, I think so.
We'll talk about FOMO later in the show. But I looked into this months ago, and because I've been talking about it for 2 months on the show, right, that this was happening in Milwaukee. He'll be in the state. It's a day before he reports for camp. I've been talking about this for a long time, so I looked into it naturally. And we were kind of told, not really a media event. But
you just got told you weren't good enough. Media is what it was. You didn't have a camera, so what the hell do they need you for?
Yeah, I guess I need to. It sucks to suck, indeed.
Because there was a lot of media there.
Clearly, there was. Yeah. You could see it in the video.
Yeah,
right. So maybe they changed their mind, and we had other stuff going on yesterday. I was up in Saukville for the Delzer ESPN Milwaukee Open.
Now you're justifying why you didn't get an invite.
Yeah,
I was busy anyways.
It's like the high school party you get invited to at the last minute. I couldn't go anyways. I had other plans. Sorry to miss you. Yeah, no, maybe it's one of those situations. So I don't know. It's a really funky situation. That interaction was awkward. And then to hear Shefty on your show this morning, and I want your reaction to this because you're sitting there and probably going, holy crap, when Shefty says on your show this morning, I don't have the direct quote in front of me, Josh, you would probably have it memorized at this point. It was essentially he doesn't think it's going to get done before Monday, right? I mean, is my understanding of the exact quote.
Yeah, the quote goes on to say that he doesn't think it's particularly close as it stands.
Okay.
And that he does not expect a deal to be done by Monday. Also, as part of that, he kind of drug out the timeline like a couple of weeks. Like this, it seems like whatever information Shefty's getting, be it via the Packers or via Jordan Love's agent,
or both,
also very possible, is that they aren't particularly close, at all right now, was the impression I was given. And the thing of not done by camp, he does give all his qualifiers. It's Adam Schefter. He has to do that because these things can, literally sometimes deals come together in 24 hours and then it's done. Everyone moves on and happy to go. He gives all the qualifiers, but he made it pretty clear that he does think a deal does get done, but that as we stand here now, it's not close.
Yeah, the direct quote, I got it up while we were talking there, and now I lost it already, of course, naturally.
Good job.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, this is why I'm not good enough to be invited, right here. This is a prime example of that. My guess would be, based on current events, that the deal is not done by the start of camp, end quote. That's Adam Schefter, ESPN, NFL Insider. On Jen, Gabe, and Chewy on ESPN Milwaukee this morning. That full conversation is available, by the way, on the ESPN Milwaukee YouTube channel, which you should check out following Mr. Relevant today. Good stuff from Shefty, as always, with Jen Latta, Gabe Neitzel, and Mark Chimura. And Joshy. Don't forget about Joshy. Joshy, have you asked Adam Schefter a question yet, or do you have to take a back seat during those?
I have. I don't remember it specifically, but towards the end, things kind of get loosey-goosey, so I'll throw something out there if something strikes me.
You and Shefty boys?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
He he like sometimes just emails me randomly if he has like a funny piece of information that's not really like news breaking. He'll just send it to me and be like, "Hey, you should show everyone this."
Can you give us an example? You can't just say that without an example.
And now I have to refer back to. I think it was something related.
This is a humble brag that I thoroughly enjoy. Yeah, I hope it's something like I know there was a piece of news yesterday in the Milwaukee Bucks side of things where Patrick Beverley signed an overseas contract. Like that would be something the NBA equivalent of like an email I hope you're getting from Shefty. Hey, Pat Bev probably not going to be in the NBA this year, Joshy. Just want to let you know.
Oh, I think it was actually scheduled. It was the Brazil thing.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, so you had a tip on Brazil.
I did.
Wow, you might be an ESPN NFL insider.
I don't respond to text messages enough to be good at that.
Yeah, no, me neither, bro.
I'd be getting news and everyone would be breaking it hours.
Let's go around the panel quick. How many unread text messages does everybody have? Josh, you go first.
415.
Okay, you've got me beat. Hunter, how many unread text messages do you have?
0, because I'm a good friend.
Okay, I see young Riley Yauk behind you there in the Everlight Solar Studio with a great hat on, Super Bowl 31. It looks like championship hat for the Packers. Riley, how many unread text messages do you have right now on your cell phone?
Let me check real quick. Well, I just got 3 texts from one of my friends. Oh boy, we're at 11 right now.
11. Wow, 11. We're really getting up there. Josh, I'm much more closer to your camp. 370 for me. You're at 415.
Yeah, and I recently deleted some.
I never lose that game. I'm shocked. You're a slob.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, I ain't got to read all that stuff.
I've done this a few times where I open my phone and I see a text from a week ago that I probably should have replied to. It happens to me way more often than it should.
Oh yeah.
How are you at email? You good email guy?
Yeah.
I'm better at email.
Here's the thing. I'll respond to my girlfriend all the time. I'll respond to work-related stuff all the time, be it email or text.
So what's the other 415? That's your entire life.
He's a popular guy.
No, I was going to say, I got friends.
Oh, really?
You know
Wow.
what ends up happening, too, though, is a lot of group chats, I just mute.
Oh, I do that, too, yeah.
So a lot of those just kind of get lost in the ether. And then I also have, there's only a couple of these, but it's like text updates from a website that I'm just too lazy to take my number off of because I bought something from there. So it's like, I don't want to go find it and then remove them. So those just keep going. And there could be like probably 40 of those. And I just never read any of them.
One more time, Jordan Love, 3 times over. Play it back, Hunter. News to come.
News go. News go. News go. News go. News.
Decided to loop it there.
I like that on a loop. I like that on a loop.
What I find interesting, and the reason why I texted you guys this morning was I feel like, and we experienced it on both Jen, Gabe, and Chewy and Wildy and Tausch today, is when fans want a thing to happen, they really try and push hard for this not be an issue. Namely, the Aaron
I don't think
Rodgers,
this is an issue, though.
Just hear me out here. Namely, the Aaron Rodgers thing. Aaron Rodgers was not going anywhere if you listened to any media up until he said, I'm going to the New York Jets.
Yep.
And when everybody who was saying, I think there's something up here, there's something funny, even pushed it back to when he had the press conference in 2020. There's no issue. He's just living his life. And what I don't want us to do is to ignore that there could be something here. There could be acrimony involved in the Jordan Love contract and extension. We haven't gotten there yet, but to dismiss it as not possible with what we know now feels like we would be misrepresenting the facts as they stand right now.
But,
Okay.
There's
Josh,
a difference between wanting to believe something, wanting to believe it and saying it, or having the information to say those things. Right now, I have more information that would lead me to believe there is an issue with the contract because they've had ample time to sign one and they have not. The evidence against it, as it stands, is I don't like that idea, so I'm not going to believe it.
Well, I think it's more than just I don't like that idea. I think the evidence is Jordan Love's personality and the way that he has been handling things doesn't come off the way that most NFL players who are upset with the front office would come off. So that's the difference.
There's a shed of truth to that to me, but also TJ Watt did the same thing.
It's true.
And he also the best holdout of all time. Where he
Come on.
he somehow managed to not really get called a holdout despite holding out, and everyone else just kind of moved on from it. He somehow manipulated the narrative enough. I think Jordan Love's probably going to participate because I think he knows with Packers fans and sitting out, and if information comes out that he's offered $52 million and he's saying no, I need more, let's be honest, people aren't going to really be like, yeah, you should definitely still be holding out.
Yeah, but I don't look. Number one, and Bill Huber and Josh, we already talked about this, but I just want to solidify this. Bill Huber from Sports Illustrated reported today, Love is showing up to camp. He reported to camp today. Quarterbacks, rookies, and select veteran players show up to camp today. Obviously, training camp, we're 5 days away, starts on Monday.
I guess we have to move it to hold in.
It's going to be a hold in.
Yes.
If there is not a deal by Monday.
Because hold out, you don't even show up.
I still think there will be a deal by Monday.
You're still on?
I think by the time he takes the practice field by 10:30 a.m. on Monday, there will be a deal done. Yeah, I do.
Let's do a bet on that
so
for
much
your
time.
favorite restaurant.
Yeah, but they've had so much time, too. Let's keep that in mind, Hunter.
Yeah,
I think
I'm
that's
saying
why
I'm agreeing with you. There is so much time before practice on Monday that they could easily get a deal done.
Hold
here.
on. I agree. In premise, I agree. But they've had so much time, right?
Months.
We are 2.5 months into when and negotiations, and I made sure I double-checked on this. They could still negotiate in April. Uh-huh. They just couldn't put pen to paper until May 3rd.
Correct.
May 3rd was the day that Love was eligible for an extension.
They could have started talking about an extension
in November
the
if they
day
wanted
they
to.
lost to the San Francisco 49ers.
Right. Well, even before that, if they wanted to, right? In theory, they just couldn't put pen to paper on it until May 3rd because he had already signed an extension. You have to wait 365 days. Actually, technically 366 days with this year being a leap year.
Good throw in there.
Thank you. Thank you. People forget.
Good information.
People forget it's a 366
extra 24 hours.
Yeah, extra 24 this year. Don't waste them. And see, you threw me off now. But since May 3rd, they've had the opportunity to get this deal done. Legitimately. It is July 17th. We are still dodging questions. And by we, I mean Jordan Love is still dodging questions when it comes to a signature going to paper. So I don't think they're particularly close, but I think two things are true. One, Jordan Love learned enough from the previous quarterback, who we referred to earlier this week as his mentor, Aaron Rodgers, to limit distractions within the locker room. I think by the time the Packers take the practice field on Monday, Brian Gutekunst, Russ Ball, Matt LaFleur, Jordan Love, all of the above would love nothing more than to have this thing done and all focus on ball, right? I think that, number one, Love learned from Rodgers so much of what not to do that he will do whatever he can to limit distractions. However, I don't think he would do as much as to give up, let's say, $5 million a year.
Right. That's where I stand. I'm sort of aligned with you. And I think if a deal gets done in the timeline you've said of Monday, I think that's Jordan Love acquiescing. I think that's him going,
sure,
I think I deserve more. I think everyone else thinks I deserve more, but I'm just going to sign this and get it done with because at the end of the day, I'm still going to make $140 million guaranteed. Right. Why do I need to push for the extra $3 per year that averages out to $12 million at the end?
Yeah.
I don't think, to me, if a deal was going to get done, and they were close on numbers and there wasn't some big, I don't want to say big issue, if there wasn't some fundamental disagreement, it would just be done. That's just a matter of fact.
So, again, I agree with you in theory, but the other thing we know is true is Brian Gutekunst did kind of set a deadline, right? And we talked about this about a month ago now.
Yeah, he also said that Aaron Jones would be back.
He did. He is known to not always stick to his guns, but he did say, we'd like to have this done by day one of training camp for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that changed for Brian Gutekunst like Aaron Jones did. I don't think Brian Gutekunst and company in the front office
I think
want this thing to drag. You think they want this thing to drag into training camp now?
I don't think they wanted it to drag. I don't think they properly accounted for the deals that were going to happen from the quarterback position to the amount they did. I think Jared Goff getting 53 per was a big shock.
Yep.
And
Lawrence
getting 55 was a big shock to the system. And they're kind of in a because the Packers do have the leverage. Like, Brandon Ayuk thinks he's going to get traded. Well, good luck. You're under contract. That just doesn't happen in the NFL. I think that there's no way we'd be here now without that.
I think that is fully accurate, right? Because I think if Love gets his deal done before Goff, which I don't remember the exact timeline of Goff, it may have been before May 3rd.
It was not, if I remember correctly.
I honestly don't know. It was end of April, mid-May, whatever it was. Even if it was, let's say, right? Let's say it was after May 3rd. Jordan Love is probably a $52 million a year quarterback. Then Goff gets 53.5, and you go, wait a minute. Love is younger. They think the potential is higher, and all the in-betweens. Hunter, go ahead.
Goff was May 13th.
Okay, so it was 10 days after they could have. And now, the Trevor Lawrence one, I think more so, is the one that screwed this thing up. For the Packers, that is. Because $55 million for a guy that
has accomplished less.
Yeah, I mean, they have the same amount of playoff wins and much more time as a starter for Trevor Lawrence, right? And overall, Love was better than Lawrence last year, and he had a crappy first half of the season. So what does that tell you what Trevor Lawrence did a year ago? He becomes the average annual value leader in the NFL for quarterbacks at $55 million a year. That's tricky. Like, that's what makes this tricky. So I don't fault Love's camp for wanting to get whatever it is, right? If it's 57, if it's 56, if it's 55, whatever it is, I don't fault them at all. But the Packers have to realize the world we're living in. And, something that came out yesterday was the Packers, since they're publicly owned, have to announce the finances of their team, how much money they got paid out from the NFL. They're the only team that publicly announces that. All the other owners kind of keep that to themselves. But the understanding is the NFL is making more money than they ever have hand over fist. The cap is only going to go up. The Packers have to realize if they get Love at $56 million a year and he is just fine, right? I'm not even saying he's reaching his full potential. He's not hitting his ceiling. They're probably still in pretty good shape, right? They're probably still in good shape with a $56 million a year quarterback because they're going to have more freedom to sign other skill positions. They signed a running back for, given the running back market, a decent amount of money this offseason. They're going to eventually have to sign one or two of these receivers in a couple of years, and those tight ends, right? So with the cap only going to continue to go up, I don't think paying Love is that big of a deal. Specifically when you have the cap freedom you do this year. So when it comes to Love, when it comes to the Packers, I would still be surprised if this isn't done by Monday. Joshy wants to bet me on that, which I think is interesting. We can talk about that after the break, Joshy, because I'd be willing to do that. I still think this thing gets done by Monday. I think the distraction is eliminated by the end of the day. They might get one practice in where Love doesn't participate. I don't think it gets further than that. Because I think they're closer than maybe you think, but they're further away than probably I think, right? The truth, as always, probably lies somewhere in the middle between as you and I do.
I picked September 6th as the date that a deal
Shut up.
I was just taking the over on the baby. We did a baby pool for when his contract gets signed. I picked the first game of the season.
There's no way it takes that long.
I sure hope not.
Joshy, is this Price is Right rules in this baby pool you're doing?
No, it was just I thought I wanted to push it further than everyone else.
Who's in the baby pool? Jen, Gabe, and Chewy?
Yes.
Okay.
Chewy's got Monday.
Okay.
Jen's got August 1st.
Wow.
I believe Gabe's got August 30th.
Wow.
And then I took Brazil.
So two of you at least think this thing's going along. We've got another month and a half of this.
Yes.
Wow. Friend of the show on the ESPN Milwaukee YouTube chat, by the way. I missed this earlier. It's a very funny comment. As we were playing the Love clip and really overreacting to it and getting our tinfoil hats on. So his friend of the show said, he said Bronny isn't an NBA player. Read his lips, just like Jaylen Brown did at Summer League the other night. Everybody was reading the lips of Jaylen Brown, the finals MVP, saying Bronny isn't an NBA player, referring, of course, to Bronny James, who's now, hey, Hey, Bronny's an NBA player. Is he as talented as one? No. But is he an NBA player? Yes, and he will be as long as LeBron's in the league. It's as simple as that. That's what Jordan Love said. News to come. Bronny isn't an NBA player. Got to tell you about my friends at Door County Distillery. Locally produced, handcrafted, and award-winning spirits made locally in Door County. Whatever they do it better than everybody else. It's affordable. It's local. Support local. It is the best. Whether it's that classic green bottle of gin, whether it's that blue bottle of vodka, whether it's the cherry brandy, the cherry vodka, made with local Door County cherries. Whatever you want, they do it well. And by the way, the whiskeys, I'm a whiskey guy. 27-time gold medal award-winning single malt whiskey. The bourbon, the rye. So many great options from Door County Distillery. Check out their website, doorcountydistillery.com. Find the retailer nearest you and a huge list of unique cocktail recipes. That's doorcountydistillery.com. We step aside for 60 seconds. When we come back, Joshy and I will try to finalize our bet here. We will also take a look at the 5 players not named Jordan Love that will have the largest impact on the 2024 Green Bay Packers season with 5 days until training camp. Jaire Alexander is unbelievable. And I'm having a serious case of FOMO. That's all still ahead. It's Mr. Irrelevant. I'm Alex Strouf. I'm back at the great Door County Distillery here in Carlsbad with my friend Rob from Door County Distillery. We're making, it seems like a summer drink here, Rob, a cherry Cosmo.
Exactly. Just our twist on a regular Cosmo. Obviously Door County, so have to stick some cherry into it.
Have to stick some cherry into it with the cherry vodka from Door County Distillery, made with local cherries, right?
Yep, made with the Montmorency cherries we're known for here in Door County.
I love it. Let's get to it. What do we got to do?
All right, so first, obviously the cherry vodka. We're gonna add 3 ounces of that. Next we'll go to triple sec, 1 ounce of that.
Need it for a Cosmo.
This is actually just cranberry juice, 1 ounce of that, half an ounce of the lime.
The Boston Shake, I've
Make sure
learned.
it's, ready to go.
That's such a cool little trick.
Shake it up. Shake it till you feel like it's shaking well enough. Strainer.
I like that color. That looks like summer. Cherry Cosmo from Door County Distillery. Cheers, Rob.
Cheers.
Tastes like summer to me. Visit doorcountydistillery.com to find the retailer nearest you, as well as a huge list of unique cocktail recipes. That's doorcountydistillery.com. doorcountydistillery.com. All right, we still got a lot to get to. I mean, I didn't realize Joshy, Hunter, and I just spent over a half an hour on that. And it made me think back to, I don't know, what was that, maybe 3 weeks ago, where I said, no, I'm not worried. You know, this is going to get done. We're making something out of nothing. And Joshy chimed in. You know, I call him the groundhog of this program because he sits back in the control room and there's 2 computer monitors that are separating, or it's right behind the glass. And then there's 2 computer monitors side by side. And then it's Joshy. And Joshy sits so low in his chair always. It really bugs me. And when he hears something interesting on the show, he'll just pop his head up. And I know I got to go to him. And we ended up spending, I don't know, what was it, 15 minutes that day discussing how you believe there is more to this story than just it's going to get done and Jordan Love is being vague. I told you were an idiot. I told you were wrong. I'm standing by that for now.
You've got about 5 days?
5 days, yeah.
Plenty of time.
So let's do this. I will say this. I say this is done by a week from right now. 1 o'clock next Wednesday, this deal is done.
I'll take the over on that.
Okay.
Easily.
Okay. What do you want to do? A little lunch on it?
Let's do your favorite sandwich shop.
All right.
We don't have to give them free advertising.
No, we won't. We won't. But I am addicted to a particular sandwich shop in Milwaukee.
The reason that I sent the text message I did to you and Hunter of Joshy was right was I was summarily dismissed. The last time Jordan Love spoke in front of the media, I said, I don't know what to take from this, but there's something here. There's something going on. And I was told, nah, it's done. Just moving on. Let's keep it moving. I believe I was told that there was, I was trying to find the Aaron Rodgers drama because I missed it.
I believe that is what I said, yes.
And then today, we're playing a 1-second clip on repeat because after the interview was dismissed, one person says news to come and Jordan Love repeats it. We're just there now.
Oh, we are.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you on that. I still don't think we were there a few weeks ago. I think yesterday is a weird spin of this, though.
But now let's do retconning.
Yeah.
Hearing the audio from Jordan Love back the last time he was asked at the end of minicamp, does that indicate the Packers aren't close and we should get something figured out here? Or is it a deal's done and it's coming along the road? Because those were the 2 options we were given. And maybe it's a third one. We have to account for. But right now it seems like the Packers need to get serious and a deal isn't close was the right answer then.
I still don't think they're as far away as you do and did. I think they're much closer than we think. And that's why I'm confident it'll be done next week.
I guess put a definition on what that means to you.
Packers are offering 49, Love wants 55, $6 million.
Oh, to me, that's a far way away.
Do you?
Yeah.
I think the Packers would go 6.
I think if they're offering south of 50, Jordan Love, and we're going to start hearing bad things about the Packers and where this deal is, I think, if they're that far off.
I want to make sure we're all on the same page before we get to 5 players that are most crucial to the Packers' success in 2024, not named Jordan Love. Daniel chimes in on the ESPN Milwaukee YouTube. I think Love should bet on himself. Ball out, win MVP, win a Super Bowl, play for $11 million, and then stick it to Green Bay next year and be playing for over $60 million a year. No shot that happens.
No, it's just too much money.
Yeah, Teddy Bridgewater is why that doesn't happen.
Yeah. Alex Smith.
Great point by both of you.
Right. Yeah. It's just it would be irresponsible to do that.
Yep.
I do think, though,
you can't leave that much money on the table.
If Jordan Love gets into the season without a contract and plays well, the Packers can kiss goodbye, whatever number they're at right now, and start paying over 60. Because every day it keeps going, that number is up and up and up and up.
Your guess of September 6th in the baby pool you're doing on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy is fascinating to me. Uh-huh. If we get that far, there's serious trouble in paradise.
Yes. But it all goes away as soon as Jordan Love gets a number he feels comfortable signing.
Ooh, I don't know, man. I think we're in Aaron Rodgersville all of a sudden. If we
You're saying I'm not even ready to go there.
I'm saying like there's legitimate going to be rifts between Love and the organization, Aaron Rodgers style, if we get that far, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. All right, Joshy, thank you as always, buddy.
Thanks, fellas.
He's the best. I mean, seriously, I didn't wake up to it. It was a little bit after I woke up. Just a random text from Joshy to me and Hunter. Hashtag Joshy was right. Very humble of him, per usual. Hashtag Joshy was right. All right, now let's go back to Hunter. Hunter, you had this idea for us to. We've been doing a series kind of since we were at 9 days, I think it was, or 10 days, whatever it was on Friday. We did 7 days on Monday. We've been trying to do different lists and talk about some of the other players on this team, not named Jordan Love, because obviously we just led the first 40 minutes of the show with Jordan Love. And we know he is the number one most crucial to the Packers' success in 2024. If Jordan Love stinks, the Packers are going to stink. It's as simple as that, right? So we can get rid of Jordan Love when it comes to this list. But you had the idea of the 5 players most crucial to the Packers' success in 2024. I just want to know, did something spur this idea? Are you curious what I think the 5 players, like what got us here to doing this list today?
Yeah, I think about the same thing going into like Cowboys games. Like, okay, who do the Cowboys need to play well other than Dak Prescott? And usually that list gets led by like CeeDee Lamb, Micah Parsons. But it's for the Packers, I'm like, there's a lot of guys where I think there's some wiggle room.
Yeah. Like
if Rashawn Gary starts out the season really well, then they're going to need him to play really well throughout the season to kind of carry some of the pass rush. If Quay Walker isn't playing well and the rest of the linebackers aren't, he's a guy that obviously then was critical for them to need success. So I think there's just enough guys that I think it's an interesting conversation of who are the 5 players that this team really needs to go where we think they can go and where they want to go as a team.
Yeah, so I'm gonna start this list off with an honorable mention because I don't think it's worth a top 5, and even if we were doing top 10, it's probably still an honorable mention. But it's worth highlighting given that it's likely the biggest competition in training camp, and that is the kicker position, right? 8 of 10 games, Anders Carlson missed a kick. 8 of the final 10 games last season, he missed a kick. I know it didn't really ultimately end up being the detriment to their season that it could have been, but I don't want to test that again. I don't want the opportunity for Anders Carlson to go out with the Packers down 3 in the NFC Championship game this year and miss a kick. I just don't want that to even be a possibility. So I would just say the honorable mention goes to the kicker position. Now we'll get into the real 5. Number 5 on my list is Josh Jacobs. I think this is such a swing in terms of free agency. You never see the Packers go out and make sexy, splashy free agency signings. They made 2 this offseason in Xavier McKinney and Josh Jacobs. I think Jacobs' role in this offense is going to be bigger than even we think right now. I think the drafting of Marshawn Lloyd is an interesting pick. We talked about that. I believe that was on Friday's show when we talked about the 10 players with the most approved in camp. I think A.J. Dillon was my number one, but that's because of Marshawn Lloyd. Josh Jacobs is going to be super crucial to this Packers offense. He's an all-pro guy. He is confident in his pass-catching ability. That's the thing. Number one thing he said he wants to prove in the Packers offense. A stat I saw today, or yesterday this was, Josh Jacobs has 197 catches in his NFL career, has 0 touchdowns, receiving touchdowns. If he gets to 202 receptions without a touchdown, that will be the NFL record for the most catches without a receiving touchdown. So Josh Jacobs, A, looking to nix that trend of being a receiving back that can't score touchdowns, but B, also said he wants to prove how good of a receiving back he can be. On top of the the grinded out tough back he is, put your head down and get some yards. Josh Jacobs is a really good running back. And adding him to this Packers offense, I think he is going to play a big role in both Jordan Love's success, but also this offense's success. So Josh Jacobs, number 5 on my list. Number 4 on my list is a name you mentioned. He's on the screen right now. That's Quay Walker. Quay Walker is a fascinating name to me. When Joe Barry was fired and we talked a lot about the upcoming new defensive coordinator hire, I always said my number one question to a defensive coordinator candidate would be, how can you bring Quay Walker to the next level? Xavier McKinney, a former captain of the New York Giants, was brought in, and he didn't have the quote-unquote green dot on his helmet. He was not the defensive captain. He was not the play caller defensively in OTAs. It was Quay Walker. So in this Jeff Hafley system where you're only really going to see 2 true linebackers on the field, and one of them may be a rookie in Edgerrin Cooper, I think Quay Walker has to prove he's a dude this year. And if he does that, this Packers defense is going to take another step. Quay Walker, number 4 on my list. Let's stick with the defense. Number 3 is Jaire Alexander, who we'll talk more about in a second. I just want to see him healthy. I want to see him be the best D-back on this team. Obviously, Xavier McKinney is an interesting name who didn't make my list as a D-back and a true safety, a really good safety on this Packers defense. But Jaire Alexander still got some game left in him. And I want to see him, A, healthy, but B, return to a Pro Bowl, all-pro level as a cornerback. He wants those top matchups. Give it to him. If he can remain healthy, I think he is going to be back to the level of a true lockdown corner, one of the best in the entire league. Jaire Alexander, number 3 on my list. Once again, a defensive name. The final defensive name on this list is a name Hunter mentioned before. Rashawn Gary, a guy that's never had a double-digit sack season. Yet, he's always been viewed as, out of high school, out of college, an absolute physical specimen. A guy that has all of the natural intangibles and abilities that you look for to be a true workhorse off the edge. Now, in this base defense of Jeff Hafley's new Packers defense, he will, quote-unquote, be a defensive end, right? He'll be hand on the ground coming off the edge. It doesn't really change a ton of what he's typically done, but he's another guy, another year removed from the ACL injury. You want him to get to that double-digit sacks category. You want him to continue to pressure the opposing quarterback, but the confidence level really varies with this Packers defensive line. I think you feel really good about the 4 of, from left to right, Preston Smith, Devontae Wyatt, Kenny Clark, Rashawn Gary, or, Lucas Van Ness, obviously the sub on the edge. You could talk about Carl Brooks on the interior. You feel pretty good about that group, I think. But I don't know how good you'll feel about it until you really see the product of the Jeff Hafley defense. So Rashawn Gary is another guy defensively who I would love to see take the next step. So just to recap, Josh Jacobs 5, Quay Walker 4, number 3 was Jaire Alexander, number 2 was Rashawn Gary. The number 1 name I really struggled with, because I could have gone with any receiver on the offense. I could have copped out and done the receiver group as a whole. But Christian Watson is the name that came to mind for me. I think we all agree, as Packers fans, if you had to pick one guy knowing he would be healthy for the entire season, all 17 games plus the postseason, fully healthy, wouldn't miss a practice, wouldn't miss any significant game time, would be on the field as a true number 1 receiver, I think we all agree as Packers fans, I still think that guy is Christian Watson. I think he can be the guy. I have the most confidence in him to develop into a true number 1 receiver in the National Football League. I do. The one thing that worries me, naturally, is the fact he hasn't been fully healthy for an entire season. And he missed most of last season. He saw specialists this offseason about his hammy issues. But the reports early are he looks rejuvenated, he looks quick, his vertical's high. He looks really good. I think if Christian Watson is healthy the full season, he will elevate into a top 10 receiver in the league. I fully believe that. I think he can make Jordan Love go from really good to great. I think he is the wide receiver on this team most capable of that. So Christian Watson, I actually put as the number one name on this list. I think Jordan Love will be good with or without him. I just don't know if he'll be great with or without him. I think the Packers offense will be good with or without him. I don't know if the Packers offense will be consistently great with or without him. Christian Watson is the name that just kept coming to my head when I was thinking about putting this list together. So I put Christian Watson number one as the player most crucial to the Packers' success in 2024, not named Jordan Love. Hunter, reactions to the list?
One of the guys that I would have put on this list, and I'm not sure who I would have taken off, because I really liked there was a reason why I brought up Quay Walker and Rashawn Gary, but Romeo
They belong
Doubs,
on this list, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the reason being is I think he's the guy where we know, like, he's just going to be that consistent receiver. He's going to be right in that 600 to 700 yards a season guy, and you need that from a young receiving core while the rest of them figure out what the heck they are in this offense, to really fully find themselves and figure out who that number one is, whether that's Reed or Watson or if it's Dontavion Wicks. Because then if you have Dobbs, he can just be that guy that Jordan's like, hey, they don't have it right now. I can go to Romeo Doubs for a couple of possessions here. We know what we're going to get from him, and then we'll get back to the other guys. Or you know that there might be a game where, okay, he may have to carry the load, but long term, I don't think he's the true number one of those four wide receivers. So that's why I think he's so critical to these guys figuring out who they are in the NFL.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And as I said before, I said the name of the number one guy is I think you could probably make an argument that all four receivers belong on this list. Right? Like Jaden Reed is the Swiss Army knife of this offense. The end arounds, kind of the Deebo Samuel light version we saw his rookie year. But let's remember, he led the team in receptions. He had the Packers' rookie receiving record. He scored 10 overall touchdowns in the regular season last year. Like Jaden Reed burst onto the scene last year. Jordan Love did an Ask Me Anything with Bleacher Report over the weekend, and he was asked who he thinks the Packers' breakout star will be in 2024. He talked glowingly about Dontavion Wicks. Wicks has put a lot of flashes out in practices and OTAs and a couple flashes during the season last year, but he's the one we've seen the least of. But there's a lot of confidence around Wicks. And Romeo Doubs, who you bring up, Hunter, has been Mr. Consistent, right? Like he's kind of like a James Jones light if we're going to compare these guys to other receivers. Good hands, reliable, kind of seems like Love's security blanket. At least he did it last year. So all four of these guys are going to be big parts of this offense, assuming they're all healthy. I'm really intrigued to see who kind of becomes that number one option for Love, because we don't know that yet, right? If you base it off his rookie, or not his rookie season, but his first season as the starter, you'd probably say it's Romeo Doubs, right? It just seems like that's who he went to in situations where he needed a guy he could trust. Rodgers always had that guy, right? And we saw so many great years of Aaron Rodgers as the Packers quarterback, but he had Greg Jennings, he had Jordy Nelson, he had Devontae Adams. He kind of always had that guy. Love doesn't yet. He might be on the team, he might be on the roster, and he probably is one of those four names we're talking about. We just don't know which guy it is. I think if all in all we remove injuries Madden style, right? We turn injuries off for a full season. I'd be hard pressed to be more confident in anybody than Christian Watson. I think what he does to open the field up, to open the field up vertically, the speed, like what we saw in that 6-game stretch with Rodgers in Rodgers' final year in Green Bay, was unbelievable, dude. Like it was freaking unbelievable what Christian Watson was capable of. So that's why I put him here. And again, I think they can be good without him. I don't think they can be great without him, at least this year. So that's why I put Watson number one. That's a fun list. It's a good thinking exercise too. So let me know in the comments if you have a different top five. If I missed anybody that popped into your mind, curious what you think on the Packers' 5 players not named Jordan Love that are the most crucial to their success in 2024. A name I brought up, Jaire Alexander, man. I hope they make a Jaire Alexander documentary someday, because he is the player, at least recent memory, who is more out there, and I mean that as a compliment, than anybody else. And I know, like, the common theme in the NFL is like the biggest personalities and outgoing personalities are D-backs and wide receivers, right? They're like dog eat dog mentality. They're very weird. They're kind of out there. They're very, very competitive. Jaire's always been a weird one to me, man. Like, we all remember the moment last year, Christmas Eve against Carolina. He goes out there because he's a North Carolina native and like kind of coins himself as a captain. Goes out there for the coin toss, and then is suspended the following week for a game because he wasn't a captain. He went out there. Yesterday, this tweet went viral, and Jaire made a couple posts on Instagram saying that star cornerback Jaire Alexander was skydiving, enjoying the offseason. I'm sure the team is very happy about this. Yeah, there you go, Jaire. The bag is back from earlier, from the playoff run this offseason. I forgot about that clip, Hunter. Good use.
Thank you.
So, Jaire just beaten to the sound of his own drum always. And I love that about him, right? The shades, the being a captain, the grittying on Justin Jefferson, talking crap about Justin Jefferson last offseason. And now this, less than a week before training camp, just a couple days before he has to report to Green Bay for the offseason program, or the preseason program, rather, Jaire's jumping out of an airplane. This dude's nuts. I love him. I love Jaire Alexander. If I'm Matt LaFleur, I don't love this, but I'm Alex Strouf, and I love this.
Exactly. Like, there's only a handful of things you cannot do as an NFL player when you're under contract. Skydiving leads that list. Like, I get that it's funny. I get that, like, but I would be so mad if he was playing for the Cowboys and I saw him doing this. The level of danger to it. Like, it's not even like he's just like, oh, I'm having fun. Like, this could genuinely kill him. And he's just like, nah, I'm going to do this. This is whatever. Like, that's just crazy to me.
The good news is the death rate's not very high when it comes to skydiving, but like an awkward landing.
Still high
Let's
enough.
say he but think about, like, even if he rolls his ankle landing, you know, or you know, God forbid, right? You know, he gets injured while skydiving right before training camp. That would be so bad. Loving football in the YouTube chat. Jaire is the most non-Packery Packer, and I'm still here for it. The hero we didn't know we needed. Yeah. Jaire. Pack is back. Pack is back. He's the best. He's the best. So I saw that. I wanted to throw that out there. I always love my Jaire shouts. I lost my Jaire shades, though. I had Jaire shades that based off his shades. I don't know what I did with them. You know, between moving cities and moving apartments multiple times in the last year, I don't know where they went. So I might have to buy a new pair of Jaire shades before the season starts. All right. I'm having a serious case of FOMO. I'm not a big video game guy, but College Football 25's early release happened earlier in the week, and I've gotten like 7 of my buddies text me like, dude, you got to get it. I don't have I have an Xbox One. It's like 10 years old. Can't get the game on that. I just like watch Netflix on there. Hunter is off on Friday. Tiny Hands is not going to be a part of the show on Friday because he bought the normal version of CFB 25, and he's going to be playing it all day on Friday.
Exactly.
So you are probably also feeling FOMO, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel for you. You know, in less than 24 hours, or 48 hours rather, you will be on your couch, not having to work that day. Thanks a lot, by the way, and playing this video game while you're supposed to be producing Mr. Irrelevant. You will be at home playing this in less than 48 hours. So at least there's light at the end of the tunnel, but you're seeing all the tweets, you're seeing all the texts, you're seeing the Snapchats of everybody and their mother playing this video game habitually at this point. And you're not a part of it. So I'm feeling the real FOMO because I'm not going to be able to get it. I'm not going to buy like a PS5 for $400 to then pay another $100 to get a video game. It's just not worth it for me. But are you also feeling FOMO? Because I played so much of the game that came out, 12 years ago, but I don't know.
Yeah, I am still feeling it because I was adamant. I'm not paying the $30 extra just to get the game on Monday, and I kind of wish that I would have done it. Like, my wife would have been mad for a little while, But then I just keep seeing every streamer that I follow is playing this game. Every social media platform is talking about this. I wish I would have done it. And I'm still trying to explain it to my wife, what this game means and how much this means to me. Having it be gone for 11 years and it's finally back, she just doesn't quite get it, and I don't know how to explain it to her. And she's been seeing TikToks and sending them of wives confused why their husbands are taking days off of work to play this game. And just the ladies don't get it. But yeah, I understand how you're feeling with the FOMO, but that's why I have an awesome wife and she let me buy a PS5 about a year ago, so
unreal.
It was great, and now I get to dive in with my dynasty. I still haven't figured out where I'm going to start. Obviously, I'm going to do a head coach.
I told you, Toledo. You're going to Toledo.
Toledo? Okay. I do like the Maction, so I'll start as the OC at Toledo, and I'll work my way up. I'll give you some updates. You can live vicariously through me and my dynasty career. It'll be great.
Yeah, whatever, dude. Yeah, whatever.
You okay over there? What are you doing?
Well, I broke something, but I fixed it now. And I'm just coping, It's dumb to me that some video games are released on old consoles, but others aren't. I'm not a big video game guy, like I said, but this one is different. I mean, this will be the most purchased video game probably close to all time. I don't know what the most I imagine Mario Kart on the Wii is probably very high up there.
Yeah,
Super Smash Bros, stuff like that.
Yeah,
but Call of Duties are probably up there.
Yeah, Call of Duty is always up there. I know just from the pre-order people who are playing online on Monday that EA's servers crashed, which is insane given how massive of a studio they are for gaming, that they couldn't handle the sudden influx of people playing. So that tells me that this game's back, and if this is so popular, we might be getting a college basketball game in a couple of years too, because of the level of popularity. Oh yeah, gonna win 5 national titles in a row with Shaka. It's gonna be great.
Okay, well that's enough out of you. But real quick before we wrap up the show, you learn something new every day. We learn something new every day. I learned something new today. Hunter, what'd you learn?
Well, I've got Riley in here training for Friday, and he is going to be putting up an image here of a new draft pick for from the Badgers, Tanner Mordecai, going to the UFL.
Okay. So apparently the UFL draft going on. I did not know that. Also, something I learned recently that I wasn't going to talk about is I didn't realize the MLB draft was 5 days long. I knew there was a lot of rounds. I didn't realize how many days it took. It's so long. Now, didn't know the United Football League draft was happening. But if I'm not mistaken, Tanner Mordecai is currently under contract with the San Francisco 49ers. I imagine he will not make the roster, so that's where the UFL comes in. He has a backup plan.
Mm-hmm.
But the 49ers hang on to his. He was a ninth pick in the first round or second round.
They just said 9th pick on Twitter, so I'm not entirely sure if that means 9th round pick or the 9th pick. They didn't have it on the graphic either, so it was a little confusing.
Because I think there's only 8 teams, so I think that would technically be the first pick of the second round, probably. But there might be 12 teams. I don't know. I didn't watch a lot of UFL this year, got to be honest with you. Shout out to Tanner Mordecai, though. Happy for him. What I learned is Wisconsin has had a great last 24 years of athletics, right? From the college level, but obviously up to the pro level. Packers won the Super Bowl in 2010. Bucks won the championship in 2021. Brewers have been contenders, not full contenders, but they've been in the postseason a lot over the course of the last decade plus. It's been really, really fun to be a Wisconsin sports fan. ESPN is currently coming out with their list of the top 100 athletes of the 21st century. And I didn't realize we didn't have it as good as everybody else. Now, I imagine a lot of the athletes in the top 10 will be single sport athletes, right? Tiger Woods, Serena Williams, Michael Phelps, imagine will all be in the top 10 athletes of the 21st century. But I think Wisconsin is done unless there's a total shocker. And only 3 made the list. Charles Woodson was number 100. Aaron Rodgers was number 91. And Giannis Antetokounmpo was number 43 on this list. The bottom 75, so 10 through 26 are out. And those are the only names of Wisconsin athletes on the list. So I was a little surprised Giannis wasn't at least a touch higher. And I was surprised Rodgers wasn't much higher, because I think he's debatably been, other than Tom Brady, he's been the most winningest, and Patrick Mahomes, of course. But in terms of MVP awards, he's won more than everybody in the 21st century. He's only won one Super Bowl, so that knocks him. But 91st of the 21st century surprised me. So I 3 athletes in the top 100, it's a little disappointing, to be honest with you. I don't think a Brewer deserves to be on that list. But Giannis higher, Rodgers, is there an argument to be made for any other Packers? I don't know. Bakhtiari? No. But yeah, I guess maybe we didn't have it as good as I thought we did. Only 2 championships, a lot of MVP awards. Only 3 athletes in the top 100 of the 21st century. Watch out, though. When this list gets made in 10 years, Jordan Love is going to be like number 3. Maybe number 4. That'll do it for us today. Thanks to Joshy for hanging out. Thanks to Tiny Hands and Riley for all the help back at the Everlight Solar Studio in downtown Madison. I got to run, but we're back with you at 2 o'clock. Kyle Bruston Nortman on ESPN Wisconsin from 2 to 5 coming up in just about a half an hour. Right here on the ESPN Milwaukee and ESPN Madison YouTube pages. Of course, Mr. Relevant, you missed any of it, you want to get it wherever you get your podcasts, do it. Search Mr. Relevant, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Wisconsin On Demand, wherever you get your podcast. Can watch it every Monday, Wednesday, Friday on YouTube and ESPN Madison's Facebook channel. Appreciate all the interaction on the YouTube streams today. Appreciate you hanging out. We'll do it again on Friday beginning at 12:30 with young Riley Yao going to produce the show on Friday while Hunter sits in his boxers and leads Toledo to a MAC title game. Can't wait for that. We'll talk to you on Friday. Have a great rest of the week. Beginning at 12:30 on Friday. It's Mr. Irrelevant, presented by Door County Distillery. I'm Alex Strouf. Peace.